Welcome back to the deep dive. We're digging into some sources today to pull out insights for you,
Yeah.
really potent stuff. Today, it's all about, well, a kind of practical philosophy for personal growth, finding meaning. And our source material is maybe a little different. It's from a YouTube transcript.
Yeah. Offering some perspectives that honestly they're challenging, but also I think really empowering if you're looking to make some changes.
Absolutely. And our mission here really is to distill that down. We want to give you actionable wisdom, those nuggets you can actually
Yeah.
use, things to help you become, more capable, more purposeful, and just, well, really deeply informed about yourself and where you're heading.
Okay, so let's jump in. We've all had that experience, right? Asking what feels like a stupid question. You ask it once, you learn the answer, you don't ask it again. Simple. But what if we turn that inwards? Start asking ourselves, okay, what are the, let's call them stupid things I'm doing right now, things I know I'm doing wrong, things I could stop, and things I would stop if I were being honest.
Mhm. And one of the most powerful ideas we came across is this sit on your bed exercise. It sounds simple, but it's profound. The idea is you ask yourself totally honestly, what's one thing I'm doing wrong that I know is wrong that I could fix
Yeah.
and that I would fix?
Mm.
And the source makes a great point. The answer you get, it might not be the one you like, not what you want to hear, but it'll be the necessary one. And acting on that, it often leads to these real micro improvements. And those, they stack up. They can lead to, believe it or not, unbelievably rapid growth. It seems like great people are just brutally truthful to themselves.
Right, that brutal truthfulness. And it doesn't just stay internal, does it? It sort of radiates outward into how we talk to people, how we interact. You face this choice constantly. Am I saying what I really think is true? Or am I, trying to manipulate this situation or the person? Because if you're always shaping your words just to get what you want, not because you believe them, well, the source asks this really sharp question. Who is it that's talking? It's like you're running on this spirit of manipulation. And if you live like that, you can't actually live your life. You're playing a part. And that apparently leads straight to bitterness deep down.
Yeah, it's a strong argument.
Yeah.
And the flip side is that telling the truth, it might cause conflict in the moment. Sure, we've all been there. But viewing it as an adventure, it's almost like an article of faith, this idea that,
Mm.
well, there isn't a better outcome than the one that truth produces.
Yeah.
So even if it feels harsh or it's awkward right then, the person you become, the being that you produce as a consequence of telling the truth is like inherently good by definition, as the source puts it.
An adventure. I like that frame. So, okay, practically speaking, how does this translate to getting better day to day? The advice we found is, well, simple but kind of deep. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's it. Forget comparing yourself to others. That's the only way to really gauge proper improvement. Just, am I a little better than that person, the yesterday me?
Mm.
And it pushes you to keep asking, okay, which ways am I wrong? Because every time you find one,
You're not going to be quite so wrong anymore.
exactly, it's like a self-correcting loop. Pretty effective when you think about it.
Right. And this kind of intense self-awareness, this honesty, it naturally brings us to think about the tools we use to, navigate everything. The sources really emphasize what they call the unstoppable force of articulation and intellect. Reading, for instance, it's framed as this incredible shortcut. You don't have to learn everything through the school of hard knocks, right? You can absorb other people's hard-won experience.
Mhm.
There's this example given, like reading a book like The Neuropsychology of Anxiety. The author spent maybe 30 years putting that together. And you can potentially get the core of that, an entire education almost, in maybe 6 months. That's an unbelievable gift, really.
Yeah, that really resonates. And, speaking of reading, there was this one anecdote that jumped out at me about reading Shakespeare. The point wasn't just, understanding the plots. It was this the sheer discipline of parsing those words, like really breaking them down, understanding their deep history, their evolutionary history, as the source calls it. And the amazing thing was how this translated into a real world skill, like interpreting super complex documents. The example was rules of engagement for SEAL teams. I mean, talk about a high stakes, where
Yeah.
every single word matters, life and death. You got to break it down word by word.
Exactly. And that leads to this idea that words themselves, they're not just static labels, they're ancient artifacts, living things. They carry their history. They exist in this kind of ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding them better isn't just about vocabulary. It helps you understand yourself, understand others.
Yeah.
It massively boosts your ability to formulate and communicate your ideas. It's powerful stuff.
It really is. Which brings up this pretty bold statement. There is no more exceptional form of the capacity to be dangerous than to be articulate.
Wow.
Wow. Dangerous in a capable way, I assume. And it's even framed as a moral endeavor, to become the master of your own tongue. It's not just about sounding smart. It's about, well, competence, influence, maybe even self-defense in a way.
And writing is key to that. It's described beautifully as formalized thinking. Think about it. You have a problem, right? You read up on it. Then you try to summarize what you've learned. You wrestle with the contradictions, organize the arguments. In doing that, you're literally sharpening your tools. You learn to think more clearly. And someone who can write effectively, speak effectively, the source argues they carry all the authority and confidence that there is. They become unbelievably good at articulating what they are aiming at and strategizing how to get there.
Okay, so taking all that in, it kind of forces a question on you, doesn't it? Like, do you want to be competent and dangerous? Dangerous in that capable sense again. Or do you want to be vague and useless? It's pretty stark, which leads to this interesting concept. A good man, or maybe a truly capable person, is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control.
And connecting that to meaning, the argument is compelling. Life needs meaning. We seem wired for it. And that meaning, it's deeply tied to aspiration, to having some kind of hierarchy of values, something you're aiming for. Without that hierarchy, that aim, people have nothing. It sounds bleak, but maybe true. The idea is that we humans, we're built for a struggle. We're built for a weight. And paradoxically, you want to take on a heavy burden, but voluntarily, you choose your burden.
Yeah, that really flips the script on the typical, Métis on the beach vision of happiness that's painted as this. Vision of drug-induced unconsciousness, ultimately making you feel depressed and aimless. Which, okay, maybe sometimes feels true. The alternative image is powerful. Being an active warrior moving uphill with your sword in hand. It suggests that it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value. That makes sense, actually. Almost all the good feelings, the positive emotion we feel, is experienced in relationship to a goal, progress towards something meaningful.
So the logical next question is, okay, how do you find your uphill climb, your meaningful struggle? The advice is quite direct. Look at what bothers you or what you find most challenging. That's often where your potential contribution lies. Those aren't just annoyances. They're signposts pointing towards problems worth solving. And having a problem worth solving. That gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It's the antidote to bitterness.
Okay, that's practical. And the advice on how to start is great too. Don't wait for the perfect strategy. Make a bad plan. Just make a plan. Get started. Implement it. You'll learn. You'll adjust. You'll refine it as you go. And maybe even more crucial, fix the little things, the things you repeat every day, your routines. Because the source says those are the most important things you do hands down. Those tiny daily actions, they compound massively over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe bringing it all together, there's this Pinocchio analogy used in the source material. It's quite insightful. If you're just acting out a persona, putting on a show to please others or fit in, you're like a puppet. You're living a role. It's not the real thing. The real adventure of your life, it seems, starts when you drop the act, when you commit to being truthful. And part of that truthfulness is deeply coming to terms with your inadequacies and humility, accepting where you're falling short so you can actually start to fix it. That's where the genuine growth happens.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and wrap this deep dive up. The core message seems to be, well, that a life with meaning, a life where you feel capable, it's built on some tough foundations. That radical self-honesty we talked about, really mastering your thinking and how you communicate. And then voluntarily, bravely, picking up responsibility, choosing your purpose, choosing that uphill climb and sticking with it day by day.
Perfectly put. And maybe here's a final thought, something for you to really chew on after this. Consider the compounding effect of time, especially time spent when you're young, though it applies always. If you just notionally valued your time at, say, $50 an hour, it could be anything. Think how much potentially wasted time adds up. Hours, days, weeks. How much better, realistically, would your life be if you weren't wasting all that potential? Think about the cost of continuing those habits, those patterns that deep down make you hate yourselves. What's the real price you're paying? And then maybe flip it and realize this. There isn't anything better to have than a problem that's worth solving. That might just be the key.